Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Please pray for us one day we'll have real garden. Krishna must be feeling the same on the altar.
Hare Krishna. I'm so happy to be back here with all of you. We will discuss in these days about Lord Chaitanya's teachings and his example in his life also. As we know, his personal teachings were written as Śikṣāṣṭaka. And these are 8 verses that are were written by him personally. So this is his personal teaching, we can say, for all of us. So we shall go through Śikṣāṣṭakam, and we'll try to get some insights from this. Hare Krishna. So the first verse is Cheto dharpana marjanam bhava mahādavagni nirvapanam shreyakera vachandrika vitaranam vidyavad jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratibadam purnamrita savadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayati Śrī Krishna sankirtanam. Cheto dharpana marjanam is that it's Śikṣāṣṭakam basically is glorification to the holy name. How to chant the holy name? What should be our attitude toward the chanting of the holy name? What benefit do we have from chanting of the holy name? And what is the holy name? So it's very important to develop deep relationship with the holy name. And as we know, also from Chaitanya Charitamrita and so on, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnakshado Nitya Mukto Binatvam Name Namino. That there is no difference between the holy name and the named one. So the named, of course, is the Lord, if it is the holy name. Thank you. In order to establish the relationship with the Lord, it's extremely important to develop relationship with the holy name. Especially in this age of Kali Yuga, we know Harir Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastiva, Nastiva Gatiranata. That in this age, there is no other way than the chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name, chanting of the holy name. Yes. It's very significant that in this very verse, there are 3 times. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama. Yes. The Lord's holy name, the Lord's holy name, the Lord's holy name. And it's significant because if Shastra mentions something once, it's very important, isn't it? Otherwise, why would be there in the Shastra if it's not important? Vyasadeva didn't have any prescribed quota how much he should write in the Śikṣāṣṭaka, in the Vedas. So whatever he wrote there is very important for everyone. And if something is mentioned twice, it's even more important. stress that this is really important, that you should follow this. Like in Bhagavad-gita, there are half of the verses mentioned twice. Yes. One is Shreyan Swadharmo Viganaha Paradharma Tsunushtita from 3rd and 18th chapter. And one is Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru from 9th and 18th chapter. Yes. So these two verses are extremely important for us to understand, for example. And if something is mentioned 3 times, it's unavoidable. You cannot go around it. It's our life and soul, we can say. So in this verse, the holy name is stressed 2 times, 3 times. Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. And it's used this word Eva, which is a very strong word that supports some statement, some thought, some point. And Eva, Hare Nama Eva, means only the holy name. And Kevalam means only also. Eva means certainly, certainly the holy name, certainly the holy name, certainly the holy name. Only the holy name. Kalo means in the age of Kali. Nasti Eva, and again this Eva is used. Asti means there is, and Na means not. Nasti means there is not. So, Nasti Eva, certainly there is not. Nasti Eva, certainly there is not. Nasti Eva, certainly there is not. Gatiranyata, other way. Yes. So, from this we can understand that there is no other way than chanting of the holy name. And it's also explained by Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha that there are 9 processes of devotional serving: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and so on. But in the age of Kali, all of these other 8 processes, besides chanting of the holy name, should be accompanied with chanting of the holy name. Yes. So, so much stress is given to the chanting of the holy name. And even Shukracharya in Srimad Bhagavatam, in 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that Mantratas tantratas shidram disha kalarhavasutah sarvam karoti nishidram anusankirtanantava. So that whatever there are discrepancies in mantras, tantras, and other prescribed duties and so on, and rituals, everything is mitigated by chanting of the holy name. Jai Shri Gurunita, Shri Radha, what's the name? Govinda Madhava ki Jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. Yes, so therefore the chanting of the holy name is unavoidable. And more deep we can go in our chanting, more connection there is with the Lord. Yes. And as we just realized, there is no other way. So it's extremely important to go deep in our chanting, to take it very seriously. Not just that we are catching our rounds, but that we really dedicate our life to the chanting. Yes. And as we will see from Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam, that Kirtanya Sadahari, chanting should be done always. Yes. So we'll go. We just quoted the first verse of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam, and we'll go through the first verse, step by step. Cetodarpana marjanam means that the holy name is cleansing our heart, the consciousness. Ceta means consciousness. And yes, Darpana is the mirror. And it's interesting that this mirror of our consciousness, as long as we are in material world, or at least we are not Krishna conscious, this mirror of our consciousness is completely covered. Once I've heard, it's not just a small layer of dust. For example, if we don't dust something and there is a small layer of dust. But we can say it's many kilometers layers of dust. Yes. So there is no way to see ourselves through such thick layer of dust. So the holy name has the potency to cleanse completely our consciousness, our mirror, that we can see ourselves. Basically, this means that removes ignorance. These layers of dust on our consciousness means that we are in ignorance. And avidya is the basic principle of material existence. Yes. There are 5 principles of material existence. And avidya is the first one. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, and abhinivesha. Avidya means ignorance, as we said. And ignorance about who we really are. So we have false identity. As long as we are not Krishna conscious, we don't realize that we are servants of the servants. We have false identity. Yes. Once there was one guy who was playing to be Abraham Lincoln, one of the presidents of the USA. And he was playing a role of being Abraham Lincoln for approximately a year or something. And then he really started to believe that he's Abraham Lincoln. And there was no possible way to wake him up from this illusion. And then they decided it's best to kill him because Abraham Lincoln was killed. Yes. So we shouldn't be such Abraham Lincolns. And I don't know about here in France, but in Slovenia we have this idea, this stereotype. If someone is crazy, that he, for example, he identifies as a Napoleon. Is it here also like this in France? Because Napoleon was French. Yes, so if someone is crazy, he identifies, yes, I'm a Napoleon. So, and he's this institution, an asylum, and when he's met by these medical professionals, they say to him, "Good morning, Mr. Napoleon." And he says, "Good morning, good morning," and he says, he has his hand like this, like Napoleon was keeping his hand. So this is craziness. But every living entity in this material world is as crazy as this guy who plays Napoleon or who plays Abraham Lincoln. Yes. For example, someone says, "Good morning, Bhagavata-dharma dasa." Say, "Good morning." But okay, we can say this identity is as Krishna's servant, a servant of Krishna's servants. So this is our true identity. But others who are not devotees, they are as crazy as these Napoleons. Yes. There is no difference, because they identify with someone they are not. So, Chaito Darpana Marjanam means that we are awakened from this illusion, who we really are. So this is ignorance. And because of this ignorance comes asmita, I am. And we just discussed this, that I am this, I am that, I am a woman, I am a man, I am young, I am old, I am French, I am Slovene, I am Hare Krishna, I am Muslim, or anything like this. This is just bodily designations that has nothing to do with our real identity. Yes, and there are so many identifications like this. I'm sick, I'm healthy. Yes. So, unlimited identifications. I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a son, I'm a daughter, I'm brother, sister, or anything like this. Yes. So, of course, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't play these roles, because Krishna puts us in certain roles, and we should conduct our lives according to these roles and serve Krishna according to these roles. But we shouldn't identify with them. Yes, we shouldn't be illusioned by them. Yes, so, and because of this avidya and asmita, there is raga. Raga means deep attachment. And what we are attached to? We are attached to keeping our existence, because by our nature we are eternal. Yes. And because this material world is temporary, everything is just vanishing all the time. And we don't want our existence to vanish. And that doesn't mean just life, but also our family, our nation, our language, our culture, our likings and our upbringing. We want to keep this. We are attached to these things. They're part of ourselves, our false identity. And we want these identities to be eternal because we identify with them. And our nature is to be eternal. So we like those things that support our existence. And there is dvesha. We hate things that are, as we consider, detrimental for our existence. Yes. And this can be many things, like neighbor, another devotee even in the community, or bad weather, mosquitoes. We hate these things because they somehow or other endanger our existence, our blissful existence, because we want to be blissful, not just to exist miserably, but we want to have blissful existence. Yes. So, and because of this raga and dvesha, there is always abhinivesha, deep fear of losing our existence. Yes, because we can see that everything around us is all the time dwindling away and changing. So we are in deep fear of our existence. This is not just fear of death, but so many fears. Fears of if I'll be able to pass my exams, for example, or anything like this. Or if I'll be recognized in the society, it's also important for our existence. So many fears. So we can test ourselves. If there is any fear in our heart, any kind of fear, that means that we are not really connected to Krishna. We are still sleeping in the lap of Maya, yes, of false existence. So, yes, this is represented by fear. So, fear is the checkpoint of our conditionings. So, the holy name is cleansing all this avidya away, all these principles of conditioned material life. Cheto darpanamarjanam, bhava mahādavagni nirvapanam. And this material existence, of course, as we just said, is always giving us some problems. And this is compared to great forest fire. Do you have forest fires here in France? Sometimes? Yes. There in Canada and United States of America, there are great forest fires. Just recently, forest fires in Los Angeles. Not just forest fires, also the city was burning. And they are so huge, these forest fires, that the smoke and ashes are carried also over Europe every year. Did you know this? Yes. And sometimes the vision is not so clear. This is not always because of these forest fires, but many times. If the vision is not so clear, but it's a clear day, it's possible that it's because of forest fires in America. Yes. So this forest fire, or conditional material life, is compared to a forest fire, because everything is burned in the forest fire. Our lives are burnt in the forest fire. Yes. Once Arjuna was asked by Agnidev, who is the presiding deity of fire, he said that he consumed too much ghee because of the sacrifices. Too much ghee was poured into the fire, so he had digestive problems because of too much ghee. And he asked Arjuna, and he wanted to consume the medicinal herbs in the Kandava forest to be cured of his digestive problems. And he asked Arjuna to help him consume these herbs, because the Kandava forest was under the protection of Indra. And whenever Agni wanted to burn down the forest, Indra sent forth rains, and he couldn't burn the forest. So he asked Arjuna for help, and Krishna and Arjuna went together to help Agnidev to consume the forest fire, to consume the Khandava forest. And immediately when Agnidev started to burn down the forest, Indra sent forth rains. But Arjuna, with his arrows, created a roof over the forest. So thick were his arrows that not even a drop of rain fell onto the forest. So Agnidev was able to consume everything in this forest. Not just medicinal herbs, but whole forest was burnt down, including animals and snakes and everything. Even the animals that tried to escape, they were shot down by the arrows of Arjuna, that they fell back into the blazing fire. So yes, this life, material life, is like a blazing fire. In Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, and Adidevika kleshas. Yes. These kleshas or miseries are miseries that are coming from ourselves, our body and mind. And there are miseries from other living entities. And we just mentioned mosquitoes and neighbors and so on. And there are miseries also many times even between husbands and wives. There's so many divorces. Yes. And there are miseries because of demigods, or you can say from different material circumstances, different catastrophes and so on, or bad weather, hot weather, too hot or too cold, or anything like this. So the holy name helps us to get rid of all these miseries. Yes, Bhava-da-vagni nirvapanam. And Shreva Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. The holy name is like a soothing moon on a white lotus that grows in the night. Yes, and Shreya means what is ultimately beneficial. There are two kinds of happiness in this world: Shreya and Preya. Prayas means what is pleasing to the senses, actually. What is perceived as happiness immediately, now. And everyone in this world is hankering for prayers. Yes. Some immediate gratification. But Shreyas means something that is ultimately beneficial. And ultimately beneficial, of course, is only one thing, and this is love of Krishna and nothing else. Yes. And therefore, ultimate Shreyas is Krishna Prema. So the holy name gives us Krishna Prema. Yes. Not something that is just prayers. So that means that in the beginning of the chanting of the holy name, as we will see in the second verse of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka, that maybe that we don't have taste for chanting. Yes. Because it's not something that is prayers, that is just sense gratificatory, but it's Shreyas. It gives us ultimate ultimate benefit. Yes. So it's Shreya Keva Chandrika Vitaranam. Yes. And in India especially, there is really, can be really hot weather. Even here, how much it goes in the summer, how hot it is in France?
40 degrees.
40. Yeah. This is very hot. Even here it's hot. But in Vrindavan it gets up to 50, I think, or even more. And this is extremely hot. I've heard that these fans for air, if it's not air conditioned, are helping us to get rid of heat up to 35 or something degrees. But then it's even more hot if there is wind or there is fan. You have this experience? You're from India?
Yeah. They start blowing hot air, which is even more irritating.
Yes. Yes. So even these fans don't help. Yes. Yes. So therefore, everything that is soothing in Shastra is compared to the soothing rays of the moon, because in night everything cools down. Yes. So, so this moon means that gives us ultimate benefit, which is Shreyas, gives us ultimate benefit, and this is Krishna Prema. Yes. And opens this blue, white lotus, yes, the ninth blooming lotus. So we awaken our Krishna consciousness, our love, even in this world. Yes, because in the night is blooming. And it's important to understand this. It's not something, I believe we have mentioned this last time, but it's important to understand because all different kinds of people, not just devotees, but also devotees, tend to think that death will bring them some miracle. Yes. That I can just follow the process, and at the time of death, I'll go to Krishna. Yes. Or Christians think I can live ordinary life, but I'm pious, I'm a good person, and at the time of death, I'll go to heaven. This is common belief, but not just for Christians and devotees, but for everyone. Even atheists, they believe I'm existing now, and at the time of death I will exist no more. This also belief in some miracle, that death will completely change their existence. Yes, death has no power to change our existence at all. There is no description in Shastra or anywhere that death has a power to change our existence. Yes. No. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan terjantanti kalivaram tam tam aveti kanta sadatat bhava bhavita. Whatever state of consciousness one has at the time of death, Krishna says in 8th chapter of Bhagavata-gita, that state we will inevitably achieve. Yes, without doubt. Yes. So, if we don't develop love for Krishna now, death itself has no power to give us love for Krishna. So, it's not possible to get love of Krishna just because we die. Yes. So we should not rely on death to get love for Krishna. We should develop love for Krishna now. And this is the potency of the holy name, to give us love for Krishna. And therefore we should understand from this how important it is to go deep in our chanting. Because if we take it as some mechanical process, we will never achieve its goal. Yes. Jiva Goswami explains that we can chant for billions of lifetimes, but not develop love of Krishna. So we should take it seriously, not as something mechanical, that yes, I'm chanting, but doing nonsense during my chanting, or talking to other people during my chanting, or doing other things, or thinking of other things consciously during our chanting. So such chanting cannot help us to develop love of Krishna. But deep chanting with great hankering and in prayerful mood, in the way that Prabhupada explained, that one should chant like a child is calling for his mother. Yes. When I was 6 years old or 7 years old, something like this, my family, we went to, because Slovenia was then a part of Yugoslavia, we went to Kosovo. We went through all Yugoslavia during vacations, but particularly I remember Kosovo. Kosovo was like something like Middle Ages. This was in 70s. I remember there was one town, it's called Prizren. There were water buffaloes in some mud. I was really shocked and very much afraid when we came there. And there was a muddy road, and there were skins of wolves in front of shops. It was a terrible sight. And there was some marketplace, and there was a big pot of some fresh cheese. Many flies were flying over this cheese, and people were trying this cheese if it's good or not. So it was really a frightening place. And there was one small boy, I remember, he was crying like anything, but no one cared for him. There was no parents apparently nearby. So I was looking to this boy, how he was crying, and I was terrified if I would lose my parents there in such a terrible place like this prison was, at least in my eyes. And still to this day, this 40 years ago something, or more, 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Yes. I remember this boy crying. So we should cry like this boy. He was crying for his parents. So we should cry for Krishna. maybe not in the mood of a child. But in whatever mood we want to develop with Krishna, we should cry in this way. We should hanker in this way for Krishna. Yes. Because child towards the parents, this is not Vrindavan mood. And as we know from Lord Chaitanya's teachings and that in Vrindavan there are different rasas, but there is no rasa of child towards parent Krishna. This in Dwaraka this is possible, but not in Vrindavan. But still, we can meditate in whatever form we would like to develop a relationship with Krishna. So, yes, we should meditate in such a way. Because the holy name will open our heart like this white lotus and gives us Krishna prema. And then is Vidyavada Jivanam. Vidyavada Jivanam. Vidya means knowledge. Here is translated as education, I believe. And Vadu means wife. And Jivanam means that it gives life. So it's life of all knowledge, or all education, life and soul. Like the wife is life and soul for the husband. And a wife is meant for enjoyment, actually. And so, as we explained before, the holy name will give us prema if we chant it with proper attitude. And we become like a wife to Krishna, meant for his enjoyment. Yes, because the soul is meant for Krishna's enjoyment. This is the sole purpose of the soul, for Krishna to enjoy. So it's like a wife of this knowledge, because this knowledge will connect us to Krishna. Yes, and knowledge is natural outcome of devotional service. Yes, Vasudeva Bhagavati bhakti-yoga prayojata janayateshu vairagyam jnanam chayata haitukam. Gives knowledge and gives vairagya, detachment from this world. Yes, detachment. So this is also a checkpoint for us, how detached we are from this world. It's not our goal to become detached, actually. Our goal is to become attached to Krishna. But this attachment to Krishna will purify our material attachments. So if we are attached to Krishna, then this is natural outcome, that we will become detached from material world. So we can check how much afraid we are and how much detached we are. So much we are connected with Krishna. Yes. And for example, this detachment for family members is believed to be the most strong attachments, especially to our children. And we can see how Queen Kunti prayed. Ata vishvesha vishvatman vishvamurti svakishumi sneha pashan dam chindi dridam pandushu vrishnishu. Yeah. She prayed, please Lord, sever these strong ropes of attachment to Pandavas and Vrishnis, who were their own children actually, and other relatives also, not just children. Yes. Dridam, these very strong ropes, and let me be attached only to you. Let my attachment flows only to you like river Ganges is flowing unobstructed towards you. Yes. So we should see how much we are detached from this life and how much we are free from fear, free from any kind of fear. Then we can become Krishna's Vadhu, Krishna's wife. This means even if we are meditating of becoming, or we tend or we long to become just in this unmarried mood, still they are meant only for Krishna, or even gopis are meant only for Krishna's service and satisfaction. And then is Anandam Buddhivardhanam. Anandam Buddhivardhanam means that it's ever increasing ocean of bliss. So this is not just happiness that we experience in conditioned life, or some thrill or something like this, but Anandam Buddhivardhanam. And one may think we are Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. Krishna is great, unlimited, but we are Anu, insignificant. Yes. Mamaivam Shur Jiva Luki Jiva Bhutak Sanatana. And Krishna says that we are his part and parcels, but insignificant part of parcels. So one may think that even our bliss is insignificant. But no. Lord Chaitanya explains that our bliss is unlimited. And it is not just unlimited, but it's ever increasing. It's ever increasing. So the holy names gives ever increasing bliss, Anandam Buddhivardhanam. So Anandam Buddhivardhanam gives us bliss. And Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadanam. Yes. And gives us taste on every step. Yes. So when we connect deeply with the holy name, we will naturally develop taste for it. Yes. Rati. Yeah. So this taste will also increase. At every step we will taste it. But as long as we have anarthas in our heart, it's not possible to taste much. Yes. There is no ruchi, no taste. But in order to get taste, we have to be absorbed. There is no possible to taste anything without absorption. Yes. For example, I believe every one of us have this experience. If you eat something in very quickly, in a hurry, you have to go somewhere, or you have to do something very urgently. When you finish, you realize that you didn't taste anything. Have you experienced like this sometimes? Yes.
It's awful.
Sorry?
It's awful.
Yes. So, taste is possible when we get absorbed in something only. So if we are not absorbed, we cannot perceive. Do you know Mataji Devaki? She's a senior devotee, and she was a handball player. Have you heard this story? She was a handball player. She was a goalkeeper, actually. And she was so absorbed in the game that only at the end of the game she noticed that one of her fingers is staying like this. She broke her finger during the game, but she didn't notice because of the passion of the game that her finger is broken. And only then the pain came. Yes, before she didn't feel any pain. So, if we are absorbed in something else, we cannot taste or feel anything actually. So, if we want to get taste, and we all want to taste something, because we are anandamayo vyasat, we cannot live without enjoyment. Therefore, as long as we will not get transcendental enjoyment, we will seek for enjoyment where we are used to get some taste. Yes. And therefore Krishna is warning us is in second chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopasya param drishtva nivartate. That one may even restrain himself from material enjoyment, but the senses are so powerful that will drag us forcefully to enjoy on material plane if we are not absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So yes, so we can see this verse is packed with idea how deep we should go in our absorption in chanting of the holy name. Maybe it's not obvious from the first sight, but actually we try to understand it deeply. We can see that absorption is the key. Absorption is the key. So we should really focus on the holy name. Focus on every aspect of devotional service, whatever we do. Even if we worship the deities, or cleansing the floor, or washing the pots, we should get absorbed. And of course, as we mentioned before, even these other activities should be accompanied with the chanting of the holy names. Yes. So if maybe it's best to stop here, and we'll continue this evening. Is this the schedule?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. So if there is any question or comment or doubt, please, yes.
I have comments. I noticed if you live in low spiritual life, you're eating more because you are hungry and you're trying to get spiritual food through regular food. Like you're trying to get
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first thing. If you
I noticed if you live in like low vibrational spiritual life, you need more food because you're trying to get this energy maybe through energy of the food. But when you meditate a lot or chanting, you don't need that much food. That's my observation in this life.
Yes, especially food is many times people are seeking refuge in food, because from the time of birth actually we depend on our food, and the food is first thing that we enjoyed in life. Yes, because from the time of birth immediately the child is put into the breast of its mother, and so this connection with food is most deep. This is also called annamaya, the state of consciousness when living entity is just searching for food. And like small child puts everything into his mouth. Yes.
Is that why we eat prasad that much?
Yes, because of this, not just prasad. If a person is materialistic, he doesn't eat prasad. He eats material food because he tries to find some pleasure in eating. Yes, and this gives most deep feeling of satisfaction. Yes. So yes, therefore one of the most severe things for the living entity is hunger. It's hunger. Yes. Of course, in modern times, people don't know really what is hunger. But in Second World War, there was hunger, and yes, there was this hunger was even a system to destroy nations. For example, in Soviet Union, do you know this? In Ukraine, again Ukraine, Ukraine is one of the most fertile land is there, and everything grows in Ukraine, and this different maize and wheat grows in Ukraine. Extremely large area of land is just fertile and growing this wheat and so on. And actually the whole Europe can live on this wheat from Ukraine. And although everything was full of food, this communists, they locked the storehouses of food and killed anyone who kept any food in his house. And so millions of Ukrainian people died because of this. Although there was plenty of food, they died of starvation. And something similar, I think, happened in India by the British. So, yes. This is so deep, this searching for food. So, of course, if we are not on the spiritual level, we will try to search this happiness in prasadam very much. Very much. And Prabhupada knew this. So his, at least it is ascribed that he said this, that because we in the Krishna consciousness we give off so many different types of enjoyment. So he said that for first 2 years one can engage fully in tasting prasad, that he will get enjoyment from tasting prasad. And of course, prasad is spiritual food. It's beneficial for our consciousness also. Especially if we don't try to enjoy it, but try to honor it, worship it. Yes, we should know that it's Krishna. It's His prasad. It's His mercy. So it's worthy of worshipping and honoring, not enjoying it. Yes. But still, as long as we are not on this platform, we should at least try to eat only prasad, not any other food. Yes. This can also be an austerity, especially for those who don't live at the temple, or if you go to some pilgrimage places and so on, that you don't go out and eat some karmic food, that you eat only prasad and nothing else. So this should be at least our focus. Yes. It's okay? Hare Krishna. Anything else? Yes, please.
You said about absorption.
Yes.
In the name. How can we do that?
How-
You didn't describe about that thing.
How to become
Get
absorbed.
Because, okay, in an environment like this, yeah, it is easier to get absorbed. But when we are in worldly affairs, we have our temporary goals, which, so given that things, even like in name chanting, we have our, how to say, like I have to do this thing, I have to do that thing, daily things. So given all these things, how, in your opinion, how can we do better in getting absorbed in the name chanting?
Yes. Therefore, because we have different obligations that also occupy our mind, we should set aside certain time to chant the holy name. And the best time, of course, is during early morning, in Brahma Muhurta time, because this time is Sattva Gun. And Sattva Gun is very beneficial for meditation, because the atmosphere is more peaceful. Of course, it's never completely peaceful, but much more peaceful than during the day. So get up early and just chant the holy name. And even though the thoughts may be going away, you should try to focus again and again and again. Krishna explains in 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, Yato yato nishalati manas chanchalam astiram tatas tato niyamyaitat atmaniya vasham nayet. That whenever the mind goes away, devotee should bring it back and focus again. With this prayerful mood, Krishna, please help me. I'm completely unable to focus. For example, if our mind is very distracted. But we should pray like this: Oh Krishna, my mind is too powerful. I'm unable to focus on your holy name. But please help me. I'm surrendered to you. I have no other refuge than you. Please help me. So if you have this prayerful mood and really crying for Krishna's mercy, that we can become absorbed, then Krishna will definitely help us.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Should we stop here? Any other questions? Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Please accept.